Okay, so next we're going to be going over the diaphragm release. This one I got from my good friend Dr. Perry Nicholson over at Stop Chasing Pain. So this one he likes to call the umbrella reset because your diaphragm is kind of shaped like an umbrella underneath the rib cage, and then it kind of expands downward. So this one is actually one of the first things I will do for someone if they come to me saying that their back does not feel the way it should. When the back side hurts, a lot of times we come to the front side, and this is now the best thing you can possibly do for that front side. It is not only going to make your diaphragm feel better, I like to call it a release, because if it has any impingements or if it feels like it's stuck underneath your rib cage or anything like that, this is going to help free it from those impingements and help unlock it so that way now it can expand in every single direction and provide more stability to your spine.
Okay, so this diaphragm release, like we talked about, is going to be one of the longer ones that you will perform. This is going to take about 5 minutes. As you get to understanding it better and knowing it better, it will go a little bit faster, but I promise this is absolutely one of the best bang for buck things you can do to relieve tension in your midsection. Remember, as we loosen up the front, we loosen up the back. So please, please, please don't skip this one. This is one of the most powerful things you can do. I have people do this all the time and everyone loves it, so it will be well worth your time. Just learn it once, stick with me through the video, and then you can speed it up a little bit when you do it on your own, okay? So first, before we go about releasing the diaphragm, we are first needing to clear out 2 other places that are big lymphatic zones, because we are actually going to be moving lymph around. So aside from manually releasing the diaphragm as a muscle itself, we are actually getting lymph, which is a fluid, the most plentiful fluid in your body, to flow upward, okay? And as it flows upward, it's going to take with it all the metabolites and toxins and things like that. So it's really important that we clear out those places so it doesn't get stuck on the way up. So to do this, all you're going to be doing, you can use your fingertips, and you can do this standing, you can do it seated, you could do it laying down, whatever position's comfortable for you. We're going to go to right above the collarbone to begin with. So I like to start on the left side. We're just right above the collarbone, and we're going to lightly brush here, like feather light pressure, for about 5 seconds. Okay, so you have feather light pressure right above the collarbone, just brushing. And then you're going to increase the pressure and the speed and go a little harder, a little faster for about 5 seconds. These are all just stimulating different lymphatic receptors. And now you're actually going to do 5 light slaps to that area. So with an open palm, just 5 light slaps. And now from here, you're going to drag it down towards the heart. So from here, I'm just literally pulling it down from on top of the collarbone over it down towards the heart. Nice and simple. Now we're going to repeat that on the right side. So same thing, you have your feather light pressure for about 5 seconds. Then you're going to go to harder and faster for about 5 seconds. And then you'll do your 5 slaps. And I'm going to pull it down over the collarbones and then across a little bit towards the heart. Okay, and now we just need to repeat that one more time in the crease of the shoulder. So this is basically right in between where your pec muscle is and where the front of your delt is. It's just going to go right in that crease right there, and you're just going to perform that same thing. This is something that it shouldn't feel like anything is really happening yet. Lymphatic receptors are just all over the place. They can be right below the skin. They're a little bit deeper, so that's why we go harder and faster. And then you have some that are excitatory in nature, and that's where the slapping comes in. You're stimulating different receptors. And then the last part is you're just dragging the lymph where you want it to go. So we're going to go up towards the collarbones. Basically, everything has to work its way back up towards the collarbones, and that's where it can get recirculated as plasma and things like that. And then we're going to repeat it on the right, and then after this, we're going to be good to go, and we're going to dive into the diaphragm release itself. So we go a little harder, a little faster, and then we have the slaps, and it's up towards the collarbone. Everything goes to the collarbone all the time. Okay, we are now ready to begin. So with this one, you're going to start right in the middle of your ab line, just below where the sternum is. So at the bottom of your sternum, there's going to be like a little floating dangly guy. Don't press on him. You're going to go a little below that. Okay, so I'm in the middle of my abs, and now you're going to press in, and you're going to start to move in just little circles. Okay, you don't need to press super hard, but you should apply a little bit of pressure. And essentially, a rule of thumb is anywhere that is very tender, you should spend a little bit longer there to try to get the tenderness to subside. If it's not tender, then just spend a few seconds there and you can start to move lower. And we're just going to systematically make our way down towards the belly button. Okay, this one's nice because again, you could perform it laying down. So if you're in a position where you can't do a lot of these standing exercises, then you can actually just do this laying down where you are, and it can give you some relief that way. Okay, so after this one, I'm about to hit my belly button. On this first pass, we're actually gonna go up on the inside rim of the belly button itself. So I'm not pushing on the inside of the belly button, I'm right on the rim of the belly button, and I'm gonna start at 12 o'clock. So if you think of your belly button like a clock, we're gonna start at 12 o'clock. So I'm on the upper inside rim, and I'm making those same circles. So the circles you already made, same thing. Okay, again, you can spend a little longer in any place that feels a little bit more tender. Then I'm gonna go to 6 o'clock. So now I go straight down from there. I'm on the bottom of the rim of the belly button. Checking for tenderness. If no tenderness, I just spend a few seconds. And now we are going to go to either 3 or 9 o'clock, whichever direction you're looking at. The order is not important, so hit one of the sides. Same thing. If it's not too tender, a few seconds there, and then move to the next side. And now that we have done the vertical and horizontal ones, we have to hit the diagonals too. The order here is not important, so don't stress if you go to a different one. We just have to make sure we hit all of them. So let's say I'm gonna go to, 430, right? I think it would be 430. So I'm now in the bottom left quadrant of the rim of the belly button. And then we move diagonally from there. So I'm gonna go to the upper right quadrant now. And then another kind of unique fact about the belly button, at least in Chinese medicine, they treat it like a compass. So if you were really tender, hypothetically, like in this upper right spot, they would say you should then look in the upper right part of your body for potential issues. So like up here, maybe it's my shoulder, maybe it's my liver, my ribs, whatever, just kind of a fun fact. Okay, now we've got the last two diagonals. So we have bottom right diagonal, or 730, and then we finish with upper left diagonal. Okay, once you've done all the diagonals, you are now actually going to go right into the middle of the belly button. So now I'm not hitting any of the rim. I'm actually just going to push straight into the belly button itself and make some circles there. It may have been a while since any of you have touched your belly button before, or at least it's maybe been a long time. So start a little bit gently. Sometimes this can be really painful for people. You just didn't realize it was painful. It's important that you actually start to spend some time loosening that up, because any sort of tenderness around the abdomen is something that your brain will stress out about all the time. It's called neuroception. So if you didn't realize it hurt until you touched it, your brain realized it hurt all the time and it's stressing out about it. All right, we're done with the belly button. We work our way back up the ab line. So you're just gonna go back the way you came, right up the middle of your abs. Okay, now we're back up at the top. We're gonna make our way down the left ab line now. So if you have your ab muscles right here, you're gonna go in the middle of the ab muscle itself. And now we're gonna make our trip down towards the belly button. Okay, so again, spend time, or a little more time, where it is tender. We're going to make our way down, and as we start to approach the belly button, we're not going in the rim this time. We are going to go around the outside of the belly button. So essentially, we're going to make a circle around the belly button, and it's going to be a little bit wider of a circle. So my belly button's right here. I have now started making that circle around the belly button. So you can just see it's about an inch on the outside of it. And we're going to trace it back up to the top, and then we're going to make our way back the way we came. And you don't have to hit every centimeter as a circle around the belly button. You can think of it just like how on the belly button itself we did those two horizontal and vertical axes and then the diagonals. Same kind of thing. So you don't have to spend forever moving 1 centimeter at a time. Just make sure you hit up, down, left, right, and then a diagonal in between them. Okay, and then once you get to the top, you go back the way you came. Okay, stay with this, guys. I promise you're gonna feel different at the end of this. It's something really simple and anyone can do it. And most people do have a very, very locked up diaphragm that has been sort of locked up under the rib cage, maybe from sitting weird, or if you had a car accident or something, it could be compressed. Really, really powerful. So we're making our way back. And we go back up that ab line. Okay, and now we are almost done. The final pass is going to come down the right ab line. So same idea, right? If we have our right abs, you're going to go right in the middle of it. And you're checking for tenderness. There may be one spot that just feels like, there is like a bolt of lightning hitting you. Spend longer there. It's okay if you spend 30 seconds in one place. If it hurts, that's your body's way of telling you that it needs attention. So now with this pass around the belly button, we make a bit of a bigger circle. So now here's my belly button. The previous one was maybe 1 inch out. I'm maybe 2 inches out now. So with this one, it may actually feel like you're starting to get into like the top of the hips, you know, almost like the groin area. That is fine. And it's okay if you're not perfect as far as your placement goes. Just remember, we have belly button, bigger circle, biggest circle. It's not going to be better or worse if you're, you know, a few centimeters off in either direction. Just make sure there's 3 distinct concentric circles. And then we're going to make our way back the way we came, and then we are almost done. If you found a spot that you think is going to take a while to not be tender, you can pause the video and just start it again. Yeah, like I'm actually a little bit tender right here, so if I wasn't filming this for you guys, I would spend longer right here. Okay, so now as we're working our way back up this ab line to finish, what we're going to do is actually go to our sternum. So that is that area right in between, you know, the pecs, right on that flat, hard bone. And you're actually going to check for tenderness there. Almost everyone I've ever done this with has a tender sternum. So be prepared, okay? This sternum is actually what's known as a Chapman point for your diaphragm. You can think of it almost like a trigger point, but a guy named Chapman found them. So when your sternum is sore, it means your diaphragm needs attention, typically. Okay, now we are at the top. We're going to come back down in between the ribs. So I'm going just to the outside of the sternum, right in the little soft spots in between the ribs. And we're just going to push on those and just make our way down. Sometimes these can be really tender too. So you're just in between the ribs on the way down. And then once you actually get to your ribs, we have basically finished this movement. What we're going to now finish with is you're just going to put your hands directly over your belly button, push down on it a little bit, and we're going to make circles. Okay, now according to Chinese medicine, if you are male, you should do clockwise circles first. If you're female, you should do counterclockwise circles first. I personally have not done extensive testing to see if this makes a difference, but I figure why not just follow the way they had it going for a long time. So since I'm a male, I'm going to go clockwise first, counterclockwise second. You can obviously apply that to yourself. We're going to go 33 circles. So I press in on it, and I'm going to drag the skin around 33 times. Clockwise. And this should just feel like it's kind of just soothing to this area that we just pressed on a bunch. After 33, we're going to go the opposite direction 26 times. I don't know if those numbers are magical. To be honest, this is the way I learned it, and it works when I do it this way, so I'm passing it on to you. All right, after you got 26, now you can go ahead and move around. You should definitely feel like maybe there's a little bit more looseness here. I've heard people say they feel like a little bit taller, but regardless, this area now has a little bit more flowing of the lymph. The muscles themselves should feel different. It should be a really, really unique feeling. And now you guys can do this one on your own.